in the Electoral Act that we passed, that whether it is transmit or transfer is that thing that is captured with beavers, the results. And for me, my understanding is if any result that was captured and sent differs from something gotten somewhere, that one is illegal. And only the courts, it's not us here that can do. So we urge INEC to follow the Electoral Act. And for me, my understanding is if any result that was captured and sent differs from something gotten somewhere, that one is illegal. And only the courts, it's not us here that can do. So we urge INEC to follow the Electoral Act and other laws or their guidelines.
Good day, viewers. The Election Petition Court handling the presidential election is handling for the first time the most controversial case since the history of Nigeria. Before now, there have been election petitions ranging from even councillorship, House of Assembly in the state, going to the governorship election, going to the House of Reps Senate, and also the presidential elections. This is not the first time people are going to the court to address the issues that happen during the elections. But what makes this presidential election petition handling the most controversial case since the history of Nigeria? Stay tuned while we analyze the reason why this case is the most dangerous case ever.
The most dangerous case for Bola Tinubu at the presidential election. The election tribunal case against the declaration of Bola Tinubu has been filed, litigated, and defended. Now, it is up to the judges to decide if Peter Obi of the Labour Party or Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party has a credible case against Bola Tinubu, or, on the other hand, if the case against Bola Tinubu has been a complete waste of time for the petitioners. Well, I don't think the petition is a waste of time. At the very least, whatever the outcome, it will add to Nigeria's election jurisprudence. Certainly, a legal precedent will be created by the judgment of the court, whether it is for the petitioners or it is for the defendant. We have had time to see the strength of the petitions of Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar. We have seen their documents and heard their witnesses. The truth is that there is a compelling case for the nullification of Bola Tinubu as president. Whichever of the myriad of cases instituted at the tribunal, any one of them could trip the president and trigger his removal from office. The criminal case in which he forfeited $460,000 in an alleged drug-related case is certainly compelling. What about the certificate forgery case? That too is a big one, in spite of how much his supporters tries to play it down. However, for me, the most dangerous case against Bola Tinubu at the tribunal is actually the simplest one. It is the 25% Abuja vote requirement. Before I tell you why I think so, let me use this opportunity to answer one of the questions from the comment section. Someone asked, why didn't Peter Obi call a witness for the 25% vote requirement for Abuja? This is a very good question. Could Peter Obi or Atiku Abubakar have called a legal expert, for example, Olisa Agbakoba SAN, to come testify, basically to come say what he has been saying on TV at the tribunal? Or could they have called an English language expert like Chimamanda Adichie to come testify at the tribunal, since the issue partly hinges on language? They could, but it would have backfired. Calling such witnesses would have been tantamount to telling the judges how to do their job. The Abuja 25% vote requirement case is a constitutional issue that requires legal interpretation. There is no one better place to interpret the Constitution than the 5 Supreme Court justices. So, bringing anyone to come testify, in my opinion, would have been seen as an insult. I don't think there is a provision for calling a witness in a case that requires interpretation. What are they going to say? Nevertheless, this is the case that Bola Tinubu should fear the most for a number of reasons. Reason number 1, simplicity. This case is so simple that the judges could have easily decided it before Bola Tinubu was sworn into office. It is just a simple interpretation. Thus, the "and" in section 134, subsection 2 of the Constitution means that Abuja must be won by at least 25% votes in addition to 24 states. Yes or no? It is that simple. They could decide that case in 1 hour if they want to do so. Anyways, why is this a problem for Bola Tinubu? It is because however the judges rule, they will be right. It is more difficult to justify any ruling on the other cases contained in the petition against Bola Tinubu, but this one, the judges can remove Bola Tinubu as president within 1 hour of consideration of the case. His entire presidency rests on how the judges feel. This is not an evidentiary case, it is a case of constitutional interpretation. It is a case of how the judges feel and think about the issue. Number 2, backing of prominent Nigerians. The other reason this is such a hot potato for Bola Tinubu is what prominent legal scholars have said on the issue. Sure, it is not wise for Peter Obi or Atiku to call witnesses on this issue. It is not right to tell the judges how to interpret the constitution in a courtroom. Yet, these judges do not live in isolation. They hear what their peers are saying. They may not be bound by the opinions of such legal heavyweights like Olisa Agbakoba, but they may be swayed by it, since this is simply a matter of interpretation. They may not be required to hear from Chimamanda Adichie, but they may take into account hers and other people's linguistic interpretation of that section of the Constitution. The point here is that there is a huge number of legal and linguistic experts, many of whom are non-partisan, that have voiced their opinion on this issue. Such weighty opinions may be on the minds of the judges when they reach their decision. Yet, I will be remiss not to mention the fact that there are also a lot of people on the side of Tinubu on this issue. There are those who believe that what the constitution means is that Abuja should be added to other 36 states to make up 37 states. They claim that in that case, a candidate with the highest number of votes only need to get at least 25% votes cast in each of at least 2/3 of 37 states. So, if a candidate secures at least 25% in 25 states, the constitutional requirement would have been met, irrespective of whether that candidate gets up to 25% votes in Abuja. To me, this is an interesting theory, but the question is, if this is what the writers of the Constitution intended, why didn't they just say so? Well, that is because that is not what they intended. What they intended is that Abuja, being the Federal Capital Territory, the seat of political administration and governance, has special status and holds special significance and should be treated as such. Honestly, the easy thing for the judges to do is to take the word "and" for what it is and rule that the candidate must also score 25% in the Federal Capital Territory. Otherwise, if they rule the other way, they would have turned the constitution on its head, and that could spell serious trouble for the country. In any case, clearly, the judges have their job cut out for them.
In the Electoral Act that we passed, that whether it is transmit or transfer is that thing that is captured would be verse. The results. And for me, my understanding is, if any result that was captured and sent differs from something gotten somewhere, that one is illegal. And only the courts, it's not us here, that can do. So we urge INEC to follow the Electoral Act. And for me, my understanding is, if any result that was captured and sent differs from something gotten somewhere, that one is illegal. And only the courts, it's not us here, that can do. So we urge INEC to follow the Electoral Act and other laws or their guidelines.
This is serious, and this is the reason why this election petition sitting in the Court of Appeal Abuja is one of the most dangerous since the history of Nigeria, since the birth of democracy in the country Nigeria. So what are we expecting? There is no doubt about that. A history must be made in Nigeria, and it is about to happen. Tinubu will be disqualified.